Hi, everyone. I'm Olivia, and today I want to share how I dealt with my toxic in laws. Trust me, this story will make your blood boil. It all started when my husband James and I finally achieved our dream. After 6 years of hard work and saving every penny, we bought a gorgeous home in Newport Beach. It wasn't perfect, the place needed some work, but the breathtaking ocean view made it worth every dollar. This is actually happening, I whispered to James as we signed the papers. He just squeezed my hand and smiled. Life was perfect. I ran my social media management business from a cozy home office overlooking the waves, while James thrived as a software engineer. For a while, it felt like we were living a dream. But then Emma, my sister-in-law, got engaged. Tyler's family has a summer home in the Hamptons, she bragged over Sunday dinner, but we're looking for something more permanent. That's when the visits started. My mother-in-law, Patricia, began showing up unannounced, always around sunset. This view is magnificent, she'd sigh dramatically. Emma would love raising her children here. You know, she's always dreamed of a coastal lifestyle. I would force a polite smile, but inside I was screaming. One day, Patricia brought Emma along, without warning. Emma strode into our bedroom like she owned the place. This would be perfect for a nursery, she said, gesturing to the walls. We could knock this one down. Excuse me, I cut in, my tone icy. This is our bedroom. Oh, I'm just dreaming, Emma replied with a sickly sweet smile. Mom, isn't this exactly what I've been looking for? The breaking point came at Sunday dinner at Patricia's house. James, darling, Patricia began, her voice dripping with fox sweetness. Your father always believed that family comes first, and now that Emma and Tyler are planning their future. Mom, what are you getting at? James asked, already weary. Well, your house would be perfect for them. The location, the view, it's exactly what they need. You and Olivia don't need all that space. Emma will have children soon, and… Wait a minute, I interrupted, struggling to keep my voice steady. Are you suggesting we sell our house to Emma? It's what's best for the family, Patricia said smoothly as though the matter was already settled. We'll make sure you get a fair price. There are plenty of lovely starter homes inland. Starter homes? I repeated, my voice rising. We're not starting anything. This is our forever home. Don't be selfish, Olivia. Emma chimed in, her tone laced with entitlement. Tyler and I deserve this. You can work from anywhere. I looked at James, waiting for him to back me up. He just sat there, staring at his plate. We're not selling our house, I said firmly, standing up. End of discussion. Patricia's smile vanished. Family should support family, Olivia, she said coldly. James, surely you understand that. The dinner ended with tension so thick you could cut it with a knife, but I knew this was only the beginning. After that, Patricia began calling James every day, crying about how he was breaking Emma's heart. Your father would have wanted you to help your sister, she'd say, her words expertly designed to guilt-trip him. One afternoon, as I was working in my office, I heard voices in our backyard. I looked out the window and saw Emma with 3 men holding measuring equipment. What are you doing in my backyard? I demanded, storming outside. Just getting some estimates for renovations, Emma said casually. The deck needs to be extended for entertaining. Get off my property. Now. Stop being so dramatic, she replied, rolling her eyes. This house will be ours soon anyway. But that wasn't even the worst of it. Emma started parking her Mercedes in our driveway every morning, claiming that street parking would damage her car. She'd even bring her friends over for impromptu tours of the house while I was working. Then the rumors started. Olivia, I heard you're closing your business because you're moving, one of my clients said during a call. Someone told me you've been scamming clients. It turned out Patricia was spreading lies around our tight-knit community. She told everyone we were selling because we couldn't afford the house and that my business was failing. She even hinted that I'd been falsifying client reports. One evening, our neighbor Sarah came by. Hey, I just wanted to ask about the open house this weekend, she said casually. What open house? I asked, confused. Patricia's been telling everyone you're listing the house. She even handed out flyers at the country club. I was shaking with anger when I confronted James that night. Your mother is trying to destroy my business and our reputation, I said, my voice trembling. She's just excited about Emma's future, James replied, running a hand through his hair. Excited? She's harassing us. Emma brings contractors to our house without permission. Your mother's spreading lies about my business. They're both acting like we're their personal doormats. James sighed, looking exhausted. Maybe we should at least consider it. I stared at him stunned. Consider what? Selling. She said she'd help us find a nice place closer to my work. It would be a shorter commute. Are you serious right now? I interrupted, my voice rising. After everything they've done. I just want peace in the family, James said quietly. Emma's always been sensitive, and Mom. Stop. Just stop. My voice broke as I spoke. This isn't about peace, James. It's about your mother controlling everyone's lives. And you're letting her. You don't understand, he said, his tone defensive. Family is complicated. No, James, I shot back. What I understand is that your mother and sister are bullies, and right now, you're choosing to enable them instead of standing up for your wife. The look on his face told me everything I needed to know. My husband, the man who was supposed to be my partner, was wavering. For the first time since we got married, I felt completely alone in this fight. That conversation was a turning point. Something wasn't adding up about the whole situation, and I knew I had to dig deeper. I started with James's cousin, Mike, who had mysteriously cut ties with the family years ago. I was wondering when you'd call, Mike said when I reached him. Let me guess. Patricia's trying to control your life too. She wants our house for Emma, I explained. Classic Patricia, Mike said bitterly. Did you know she forced my parents to sell their beach house to fund Emma's private school? Claimed they owed her because she helped with their mortgage once. It was all lies. That conversation opened a floodgate. Over the next few weeks, I quietly investigated, talking to estranged family members and piecing together the puzzle. What I uncovered was shocking. Your mother-in-law? Yeah, I know her, said Tyler's former business partner when I tracked him down. She's been pushing Tyler to buy property he can't afford. The guy's drowning in debt but keeps up appearances to please her. I hired a private investigator who discovered Tyler had taken out multiple high-interest loans. Even more disturbing, Emma's name was on loan applications for our house, dated before they even made their demands. They're planning to flip it, a realtor friend explained after reviewing the documents. The market value is triple what you paid because of the new development plans in the area. Then came the bombshell. I found James's father's old lawyer. Your husband never knew, the lawyer explained, handing me documents. Patricia didn't sacrifice anything for his education. John left a trust fund for both kids. She's been controlling that money for years, making them think they owe her everything. I was compiling all this evidence when our elderly neighbor, Mrs. Chen, knocked on our door. Someone asked me to sign papers about your house yesterday, she said, holding out a clipboard. They said it was a neighborhood approval form for renovations. What papers? I asked, my stomach sinking. Property transfer documents, she said knowingly. I may be old, but I can still read. That woman, your mother-in-law, didn't know I used to work in real estate. My hands were shaking as I called James. Your mother tried to forge property documents. She's getting neighbors to sign fake renovation approvals. That's impossible, James said, his voice tinged with disbelief. You must be mistaken. I have proof, James, not just about this, about everything. Your college fund? It wasn't from her. Your dad left you that money. The silence on the other end was deafening. What are you talking about? He finally asked. Come home. Now, there's something you need to see. When James walked in and saw the dining room table covered with documents, the loan applications, trust fund papers, and forged documents, his face went pale. All these years, he whispered, picking up his father's trust fund statement. She made me feel like I owed her everything. That's when the front door burst open. Patricia stormed in, waving papers. I have the transfer documents right here. All we need is your signature. She froze when she saw what was on the table. How dare you go behind my back? She screeched, lunging for the documents. This is family business. You're right, Mom, James said, his voice ice cold. This is family business, and we're dealing with it right now. I didn't need to do anything after that. Once the truth came out, karma took care of the rest. A mysterious tip, definitely not from me, reached Tyler's investors about his fraudulent loans. Within weeks, his financial empire crumbled. The wedding's postponed indefinitely, Emma announced on social media. 2 days later, Tyler was spotted leaving the country. "This is all your fault," Emma screamed through our doorbell camera. "You ruined everything." But that was just the beginning. Once Patricia's schemes were exposed, other family members started coming forward. Mike shared his story at the country club, Patricia's favorite haunt. Aunt Sarah revealed how Patricia had manipulated her out of her inheritance. The dominoes just kept falling. "Did you hear?" one neighbor whispered to another. "Patricia Turner tried to forge property documents. I always knew something was off about her." The whispers followed Patricia everywhere. Her once coveted spot in the weekly tennis group suddenly disappeared. No room for new members, they said. Her charity board position was mysteriously restructured. The facade she'd worked so hard to maintain was crumbling, and everyone was starting to see her for who she truly was. James watched it all with a mixture of sadness and relief. "I can't believe I almost lost you because of their manipulation," he said one evening as we sat on our new deck, the ocean breeze brushing past us. "You didn't lose me," I said, squeezing his hand. "You chose us." Emma's downfall, however, was far more spectacular. During an interview at a prestigious firm, she reportedly demanded the corner office right away because, as she put it, "My family deserves the best." She didn't get the job, or the next one. Last I heard, she'd moved to a small town in Idaho, far from the life of privilege she'd once flaunted. Meanwhile, my business thrived. It turns out people love supporting someone who stands up to bullies. My client list doubled, then tripled. With the money we'd saved from the possibility of being forced out of our home, we invested in renovations instead. We built a sprawling new deck to enjoy the ocean view, expanded the kitchen, and even added a home theater. Every improvement was something Patricia and Emma had dreamed of claiming for themselves, now firmly and permanently ours. The real cherry on top, our housewarming party. We invited the entire community, along with all the family members Patricia had alienated over the years. The sunset that evening was spectacular, painting the ocean in shades of gold and crimson. "To new beginnings," James said, raising his glass. We were surrounded by genuine friends and family, people who loved us for who we were, not what we could give them. As the party reached full swing, I caught a glimpse of a car parked down the street. Patricia and Emma. They hadn't been invited, of course, and they knew better than to crash. From their car, they watched in silence, unwelcome and unacknowledged. After a few minutes, they drove away, disappearing into the darkness while we celebrated in the light. "You know what's funny?" I said to James later that night, standing on our deck and looking out at the endless ocean. "What's that?" he asked, wrapping his arms around me. "They wanted this house so badly, but they lost everything trying to take it, and all we did was stand our ground." James smiled, holding me close. "No, babe. You stood your ground. You saved us both." It struck me then. Sometimes the best revenge isn't doing anything at all. It's simply refusing to give in to toxic people and letting their own actions become their downfall. What would you have done if your spouse started wavering under family pressure? Would you have fought alone, like I did, or given in to keep the peace? Because at the end of the day, it's not just about a house. It's about standing up to manipulation and refusing to let toxic people control your life. I chose to fight. It cost me months of stress, but it saved my marriage and, more importantly, my self-respect. Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story of standing up to entitled in-laws, hit the like button and subscribe for more real-life stories about overcoming toxic relationships and reclaiming your power.